Hello and welcome to Becky's Bible Thoughts. I'm really excited to be here with you again today to just share a few thoughts from this amazing book together. So there's a verse that I read recently in the Bible that really caught my eye and just blew my mind a tiny little bit. It's Isaiah chapter 50 verse 10, and this is what it says. If you are walking in darkness without a ray of light, trust in the Lord and rely on your God. If you are walking in darkness without a ray of light, trust in the Lord and rely on your God. So there are a few things that this verse tells us. The first is that if you feel like you're walking in the dark right now, if everything seems hard, if you feel a little bit hopeless, if you're hurting, if you feel lost, if any ray of light just seems impossibly far away right now, and you're just not sure how to keep going, that's okay. We all have times of darkness, times where things feel impossible. You've not gone wrong in some way if you're walking in that place right now. You're not failing if it feels hard to know what you should do next. And if even going to God with this feels really, really difficult right now. We are living in a world where we have to face difficult, dark times. This whole year feels a bit like that, right? With coronavirus and elections causing mayhem and forest fires and whatever else it throws at us in the next month and a few days. This year has felt quite dark, quite hard. Now, my husband Dave and I are very blessed that here in Uganda we have a solar power system with a battery backup, which means that even when the power goes out in the neighborhood around us, we tend to keep power. We still have lights and a few other things, our fridge and freezer, thankfully. But not too long after we'd set up that system, there was one night where the power went off, and instead of having a little bit of ambient light from things that were still working, we had absolutely nothing. So it turns out we'd made a mistake when we'd set it up and changed some setting was wrong. I don't know, electricity magic. But it meant that our batteries had emptied themselves. And so we had absolutely no power whatsoever. And of course, all of the neighboring areas were without power as well. So it was total darkness, just completely black. And it's a strange sensation actually being in darkness that is that total, because it can make you feel a little bit lost, even in a familiar environment. The things that you're used to doing, the things that are familiar to you, become harder. Even crossing a room that you've crossed hundreds of times, there are unseen obstacles everywhere, and it can be difficult to orient yourself to get to where you need to go. You can feel quite lost. That's what darkness does to us. And there is absolutely an emotional parallel with that, when we hit that season of darkness in our lives, where even doing the familiar things that we've done a million times before seems really, really hard. And we can feel lost and aimless and not sure which direction to turn, feeling that our goals and our vision, the things that we see with those kind of emotional eyes, have been stripped away from us. But, and there's a wonderful but here, if we're in total darkness, without a ray of light, without a flickering candle to guide the path for our feet, we can still trust in the Lord and rely on our God. But that is a choice that we need to make. We don't have to trust in God. We can carry on floundering around in the dark on our own, or we can come in honesty to him and say, this is hard, God, and I feel a bit like I'm lost in the dark right now, and I don't understand it, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to put one foot in front of the other without falling over my own feet. But I put my trust in you again, and I'm going to lean on you right now, and I'm going to rely on you absolutely, because I know that I can do that, because your word tells me so. Now, I find it interesting that this verse doesn't say, trust in the Lord and rely on your God, and he will instantly deliver you from whatever situation you're facing. That may be the case sometimes, and it's wonderful when it is, but sometimes we just have to keep going. We have to keep plodding forward through the darkness to reach the other side of this season that we're in. But if that's the case, then what's the point, right? Why bother going to God in hard times if those times may not change and our situations and our circumstances may stay the same and it may still feel dark? Why go to God? Because he is the light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So says John chapter 1 verse 5. There is no darkness that we face, no matter how horrendous it may seem at the time, that can overcome our God. That is a good promise to hold on to when things seem bad. It always amazes me how darkness is pushed back by even just a tiny little flame. Just as the darkness in our souls can be driven back by that tiny little flame of hope, by turning our focus onto God again. When we do that, when we start to remember all of his promises, his guarantee to guide us, to lead us, to make us whole, to give us joy and peace and rest, it just turns our focus onto that light and off of the darkness around us. Even if it's only a tiny little match in the darkness right now, it's still light. Jesus is our light. It is you who light my lamp. The Lord my God lightens the darkness. So says Psalm 18 verse 28. So if this is a season of darkness for you, that's okay. But make the choice today to put your trust in the light. This too shall end, and your walk through the dark will bring you closer to God. More than anything else, as you learn to lean on him in your every step, as you learn to trust in him again, as you learn to rely on him fully, even when every sense in you is screaming that there is nothing here to rely on, you can trust in him. If you're walking in darkness without a ray of light, trust in the Lord and rely on your God. Thank you so much for joining me here again today for some thoughts from the Bible. I'll be back on Monday next week, so please do join me then and we can share some more insight into this amazing book again together. I'll see you then.